How did an imperial army keep hundreds of thousands of soldiers standing? How were wages paid when there was no money, no banks, and no modern financial system? Did soldiers fight for the sword in their hands, or for the promise of loot? In ancient empires, the way armies were paid was directly connected to the state's economic power, administrative structure, and understanding of warfare. These methods were very different from modern salary systems, yet they allowed armies to survive even in times when money was scarce. In the ancient world, soldiers were compensated not only with money, but also through land, loot, food, and social privileges. One of the earliest and most common methods was the sharing of loot. In antiquity, war was not only a political activity, but also an economic one. Gold, silver, valuable objects, slaves, and livestock taken from conquered cities were distributed among soldiers. Especially in Assyrian, Persian, and early Greek armies, loot was one of the main motivations for soldiers to participate in war. Since this system did not require regular salaries, it did not heavily burden the state treasury. However, it made it difficult to keep soldiers loyal during times of peace. As state structures developed, regular salary payments began to appear. The most well-known example of this system is the Roman Empire. Roman legionaries were paid at regular intervals with silver coins called denarii. These wages were financed through taxes. By collecting taxes from conquered territories, Rome created a sustainable system that supported both its bureaucracy and its army. Interestingly, however, the cost of weapons, armor, and sometimes even food was deducted from soldiers' pay. As a result, their net salary was quite low by modern standards. Because money was not universally accepted everywhere, payment in kind was also very common. Soldiers were given basic supplies such as wheat, barley, olive oil, and wine. This system was especially widespread in ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia. State granaries allowed armies to be fed regularly, reducing the need for cash. This method also helped armies survive long military campaigns from a logistical standpoint. Another important form of compensation was land grants and retirement benefits. In Rome, soldiers who served for many years were rewarded with land after their discharge. These lands were usually located in newly conquered territories. In this way, soldiers were rewarded for their service while imperial borders were secured by loyal former soldiers. This system turned military service into a path for social advancement. In some empires, however, forced conscription and corvée labor systems were used. In China and the Persian Empire, peasants were drafted into the army for certain periods and often received no regular pay. Their living expenses were covered by their families or local authorities. In this system, military service was seen by the state as a form of taxation. In conclusion, ancient empires did not rely on a single method to finance their armies, but instead used mixed systems. Loot, salaries, payments in kind, and land distribution were all used together. This flexibility allowed ancient states to build large and effective armies despite limited economic resources. How an army was paid was, in fact, a reflection of how organized and powerful that empire truly was.